In 2011, Caius Veiovis was convicted of killing 3 individuals in Pittsfield. The top 10 craziest courtroom incidents from the Hells Angels' turbulent history are revealed today. These incidents involved club members who were prosecuted for horrible crimes. The allure of the Hells Angels has major repercussions because their indulgence occasionally results in serious crimes and court cases. Be prepared to read about the 10 most incredible Hells Angels courtroom occurrences. Let's start with the Caius Veiovis, who had horn implants and a 666 tattoo on his forehead, giving him a menacing appearance. His affiliation with the hazardous group contributed to their unfortunate end in Massachusetts, where he was accused of kidnapping and murdering 3 other Hells Angels. David Chalu and Adam Hall, his fellow conspirators, were also accused. Hall, a prominent member of a Massachusetts branch, dealt with accusations of drug sales, extortion, violence, and hijacking. David Glasser, Edward Frampton, and Robert Chadwell were the victims who were caught in this dreadful situation. Glasser was a target because he might testify against Hall. Veiovis was given 3 life sentences without the possibility of release for first-degree murder, but steadfastly maintained his innocence. This incident serves as a chilling warning of hidden danger. Justice ultimately won despite the crimes committed, as the offenders faced the consequences of their behavior. Number 2. Richard DeVries. Richard DeVries, 67, is the main character in an engrossing story that centers on a national courtroom drama. The lawsuit is centered on the bloody shootout between 2 motorcycle groups that are rivals, Vegas and Hells Angels, on Henderson Highway. 8 individuals were accused of participating in a plot and were charged with attempted murder, violence, and discharges of a firearm. 6 motorcycle riders in Vegas were injured on Memorial Day, a weekend ride by an unexpected barrage of gunfire. The mystery is further complicated by the intriguing connection to a previous tragic shooting in California. In recent court appearances where bail was rejected, prosecutors believe DeVries led a violent, intimidating criminal gang. The unknown outcome of DeVries and her co-defendants is suspensefully awaiting public attention after the whole defense disputes their criminal status. Number 3. Adam Lee Hall. A crucial decision was made when Adam Lee Hall was given 3 consecutive life sentences for a triple assassination in 2011. It was described as an instance of unspeakable cruelty and disrespect for human decency by Judge C. Jeffrey Kinder of Berkshire County. Hall kidnapped and mistreated David Glasser, a man with mental disabilities, during his sentence. Their presence also tragically entangled Robert Chadwell and Edward Frampton. Hall's prosecution was strong, and he was found guilty of 3 murders and 12 other crimes. He planned these actions to silence Glasser, a witness in an upcoming trial, as a former Hells Angel. Hall's misdeeds were made worse by his ability to deceive young women and lack of regret. Victims' families described the unreplaceable void. Hall was unrepentant throughout the trial and continually interfered with justice. The phrase emphasized how society rejected inhumanity. Number 4. Joseph Lancio. As part of a plea agreement, Rhode Islander and Hells Angels president Joseph Lancio was given a 5-year prison sentence. He entered a no-contest plea to the charges of criminal assault and illegal weapons possession. Forearm discharge and malicious intent charges were withdrawn. In a conflict that started in June of 2019, Lancio fired at club prospect Richard Starnio. The RI State Police raid was a result of the club's surveillance of playing a crucial role. Lancio will serve as a 5-year sentence followed by an 8-year-old period during which she cannot contact Starnio, and a 10-year probationary period. Member Lance E. Moore received a 4-year probationary sentence for removing surveillance equipment. AG Peter Nornois complimented the police for upholding justice as well. Number 5. Jason Wallace. Jason Wallace, a former Hells Angel, and 2 others were convicted for a brutal attack. An attack that used extreme brutality to establish gang authority left the victim with long-lasting physical and emotional anguish. Unsettling information that showed Wallace's active participation in the assault's planning and execution was presented in court. Trial highlighted accountability for his actions, even inside powerful organizations like the Hells Angels, and highlighted the catastrophic effects of organized crime. Number 6. Emery Martin. Edward Pitt Martin, a 61-year-old resident of St. Andy, Madawaska, was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison in 2021 for drug trafficking associated with a criminal organization. He appeared via video in Bathurst Provincial Court owing to potential COVID-19 symptoms. He was identified by the RCMP as a longtime Hells Angels member who was involved in smuggling out of Quebec. Interestingly, Judge Denis LeBlanc decreased his sentence a little because he had already served 1,209 days in prison since 2018. Martin had to put up with solitary imprisonment and continuous cell monitoring. He was identified by the RCMP as the main offender for the province's Northwest drug incursion. Surprisingly, Martin brought in 96 kilograms of drugs between 2016 and 2017. That says a lot. He also had some hashish, which was 27 tons. Number 7. Zane Power Wallace. Zane Power Wallace, a potential Hells Angels member, was sentenced to a dramatic courtroom scene for killing Mother Jasmine Wilson. Wilson had a history of violence and was tragically killed by Wallace's vicious assault. The courtroom became tense as Wilson's family gave emotional impact statements during which they recalled special memories. For the sake of society's protection, the Crown prosecutor sought a severe sentence. Wallace pleaded guilty and agreed to a life sentence. Given Wilson's extended suffering, Justice Francis Cook issued a minimum sentence of 15 years without the possibility of parole. The ruling sparked an emotional outburst that was restrained by security. Number 8. Kadir P. A Berlin court rendered a groundbreaking decision that put an end to the long-running dispute concerning the Hells Angels biker group and Tariq Q's and O's fatal attack. The 26-year-old was killed in an assault at a nearby bookmaker store in 2014. Kadir P., the charter leader who planned the assault, was found guilty of inciting. 7 further gang members were also given life terms. An attacker who cooperated with the police was given a 12-year sentence. Kadir P.'s pivotal involvement was noted by Judge Thomas Gross, who labeled him as an antisocial. Now, the emphasis is on holding law enforcement accountable for any potential carelessness because of all that's happened. Number 9. James Henry McCauley. Judge Charles J. Saragwa has imposed a 300-month prison term on James Henry McCauley Jr., a 67-year-old resident of Oakfield, New York. His wrongdoing? For nearly 10 years, running a network of illicit drug dealers in western New York. McCauley oversaw this operation from 2002 to 2010. He was a former leader of the Rochester Hells Angels gang. Through gang members in Rochester, he set up a steady supply of illegal drugs coming from California. McCauley's criminal activities were put an end, along with those of 7 other gang members. The FBI and other agencies accused the Rochester and Monterey Hells Angels of racketeering and human trafficking. McCauley faces a hefty sentence, but his conspirators among the Monterey Hells Angels president Richard W. Marr pled guilty to trafficking and were given a range of punishments, from probation to years in prison. Number 10. Dean Kelsey. When Sean Simmons died in 2000, his family voiced their sorrow and annoyance in front of Dean Kelsey in court. In 2022, Kelsey requested release after serving 18 years in jail. In the midst of suffering, Simmons' family found support in one another, sharing impact statements that evoked vivid memories of Sean and the unrelenting grief of his passing. The family described how the terrible killing of Simmons wrecked their lives. Their pain, rage, and sense of injustice were put into the words during the parole hearing. The hearing demonstrated the need of holding offenders accountable by highlighting the enormous cost of such acts. These courtroom scenes gave viewers a glimpse into the gritty, frequently violent world of Hells Angels motorcycle organization. These incidents highlight the continued difficulties that society and law enforcement have in combating organized crime and safeguarding community safety, even when some members of the organization may have received justice for their crimes. The legal proceedings serve as a timely reminder of the value of respecting the rule of law and holding everyone accountable for their conduct, regardless of affiliation or allegiance.